Hi guys, I'm Jess, welcome to my channel. Today I'm talking about the 5 things I wish I'd known before au pairing. So I'm 19 years old from the UK and I'm just coming to the end of my gap year, and last year in June I went to Italy for 6 months to be an au pair and it didn't go quite as planned. My original host family, I actually left them after just 3 weeks because it didn't go very well. But then I found a new host family very quickly and I stayed with them for 4 months, and it went so well that recently I just went back to visit them for a week on holiday, and yeah, I'm really glad I did au pair in the end, but I certainly didn't do all the research I should have, so I'd just like to share what I've learnt through being an au pair, what I wish I'd known before I left England. So the first thing is probably the most important, at least in my opinion, and that's ask your prospective hosts loads of questions, the right questions, before you agree to be an au pair for them. So the first thing I would ask a prospective host family, if I were to au pair again, would be how do they discipline their children? Because even if the kids have had au pairs before, it's still strange to have a complete stranger living in your house, and if you can follow the example of the parents and discipline the children how they do, it makes it easier for the kids to get used to you. Another reason why this question is important is because if they don't really come up with a good answer, if they don't say, okay, this is what we do when they break the rules and we follow through with this, then you know that there's probably not a lot of discipline in the house, and alarm bells should start ringing, because undisciplined children are a nightmare to work with. You should also, of course, ask what's expected of you, because some families, they want an au pair who will help out with the housework, and some just want you to look after the kids. My second host family, they didn't want me to do any housework, or indeed childcare really, because the girl I was looking after, she was 12, so she didn't really need a lot of looking after, just somebody to be in the house, and the main duty was helping her with English, which I think really suited me well. You should get all the important details in writing as well. You should make sure you know how much they're paying you, if they're paying you, and how much time you get off. If you're getting an evening off, you need to know what is an evening, because with my first host family, I was supposed to get every evening off in the week, and I didn't realise that that meant I finished at 8:30 in the evening. And for me, I wasn't really comfortable with only having a few hours to myself out of the entire day. So you need to know this before you leave and get it in writing, so you have proof if there's any kind of dispute over the details. What else? You definitely need to know what their house rules are, because every family is different. They might not want you to, for example, alcohol, they might not want you to drink at all, whether inside or outside the house. Smoking, if you're a smoker, you need to know whether that's okay, because if you get all of this sorted out before you go, then that limits how many arguments you can have about it when you get there. You don't want to arrive in this foreign country with a complete strange family and then realise that you're not allowed to do a lot of things you thought you could do. So it's just best to know all this before you go. Yeah, you should also ask them, if you are visiting a country because you're interested in exploring a little bit of it, you should ask them whether you get the full weekend off and if you're allowed to take day trips or weekend trips. Most host families are totally fine with you going away during your free time, but I definitely had some problems with my first host family who weren't happy with me going away overnight, especially, even in my free time. So I wasn't happy with that, and that was one of the reasons why I left, but I could have saved myself a lot of bother if I'd asked that before I went. So that was sort of number 1 and 2. Number 1 was ask all the important questions. Number 2 is get the important details in writing. I did plan this. I'm not really following my plan. I'm just sort of talking. The third thing is what you should remember is that it's scary for them too. Okay, you're a single person, you're alone, and you're going into a different country, sometimes with a different language and with a different family. But for them, remember that they're also, the host family is having a complete stranger in their home, trusting that stranger with the most important, precious thing in their life, and that's their children, usually. So yeah, it's scary for them too, and can be quite stressful for them too. So you need to have a bit of patience, especially in the beginning. You're getting used to them, they're getting used to you, and just have some empathy. The fourth thing is you can always leave. I really wish somebody had told me this before I went, because although I left my first host family after just 3 weeks, I knew pretty much almost immediately that it wasn't right for me at all. And I stuck out that long because I was terrified of being a failure. If you're feeling really homesick and weird about being an au pair and you're not sure if you made the right decision, if it's feelings like that, I would recommend sticking it out, especially if the host family, they're quite approachable and you can talk to them about it, because they'll probably understand, especially if they've had au pairs before. But in my situation, I did talk to the host family and there wasn't really any improvement. I'm not really going to go into details about why I didn't like it there, because, I'm not going to post this stuff on the internet to have a go at anybody. Just that it wasn't right for me and it wasn't working at all. So I really did feel like I needed to leave. I was getting very, very strong anxiety about it. I did leave in the end, and I felt horrible about it for ages. I was a massive failure. I remember feeling really anxious that because I couldn't stick out being an au pair, that was supposed to be quite an easy job. I don't know where I got that idea from. It's not easy. That I would suck at every job because I'd be a quitter and I'd suck at it. And what if I hate university? Like, kind of crazy things going on in my head. You can always leave the situation. And the last thing is that there's actually a really large au pair community out there, and I didn't realise this. I felt quite lonely even when I was with my second host family. The one went very well and I enjoyed staying with them, but of course you still want to make friends and meet people your own age, and you do kind of sometimes want to gossip a bit about your host families. And au pairs are great for that. You can find au pairs from many different countries, so it was very interesting. But so I was really craving friends, and for a while I didn't really know what to do because I wasn't really sure how to get out there and meet people. But on the internet you can find many forums for au pairs in your area. There are Facebook groups as well. So I used, I think it was Au Pairs in Milan or something like that on Facebook to meet up with a couple of other au pairs, and then we formed quite a good friendship group. So the internet really is your friend when finding other people to hang out with and people that you can, go and explore other areas with. So make use of Facebook groups, or you can use meetup.com, which isn't specifically aimed at au pairs, but I know in some areas they do have a lot of free meetups, so that's a good way to make friends as well. It can be quite lonely in the beginning, when you go to any new place with new people, you will feel lonely and a bit anxious, but through using this Facebook group and meeting other au pairs, that went away very quickly. So if you guys have any other pieces of advice, if you've been an au pair before and you'd like to share your experience, please leave a comment below. If you have any questions, leave a comment below and I'll do my best to answer them in a coherent way. I'm not an expert. I had just 6 months of au pairing, so I can't really say I know everything, but this was just 5 things I wish somebody had told me before I went to Italy. I hope you enjoyed it. I will be talking a bit more about gap years and university soon, so take care and keep watching, and goodbye.